Welcome back to Everyday Struggle. The desk is here with academics and Wayno. So yesterday we told you guys that we have a couple weeks left till the series finale of the show. I'm not gonna lie, it's like weird coming to work when work is almost over. It feels like senior year of high school when no one's really trying to go to classes for those last few days.
We already did finals. That's what it means. We did finals.
Right.
Basically, just waited out, clean out locker time, man.
Yeah,
How do
that's
you
too
guys?
funny.
Well, how do you guys feel about the reaction yesterday from fans?
Definitely. Just watching some of the fans basically express how much they watched the show, what the show meant to them, and pretty much just how much of a routine like thing it became in their lives. I definitely felt proud of what we've all accomplished, but also like just even outside the fans, like a lot of people, whether it was Cardi B reaching out or whether it was like my man P and Coach K, they gave me a call to say, hey, listen, it's been a really instrumental show, and hey, just wanted to keep relationships going as we go forward. So, I felt the love yesterday a lot. I mean? Of course, you had a few detractors, but everybody got to get their clout. Cash it in.
Yeah, I feel you. I felt the same way. I felt like it was a lot of appreciation. You know what I mean? I didn't know so many people, made it such a part of their daily routine. It's like, yo, this is what I do after school, or this is what I do, during my lunch break. It was really dope to see that, we was able to create some content that help people out with their everyday. So I'm happy with, how things is going. But it's still the same kind of feeling, but it's dope that it really affects people.
Yeah, I think one of our fans told me that he started watching in seventh grade and it took him all the way through 10th grade. For some reason, putting it in school terms makes it even crazier. That's such a crazy time in your life. But we appreciate all the love and support. We're going to enjoy these last couple of weeks with you guys. And we're still catching up on some of the stories we missed while we were off for Thanksgiving break. So let's start with Megan Thee Stallion. She released her debut album, Good News, on November 20th. So 17 songs, a lot of big features on this project. People like Big Sean, 2 Chainz, Lil Durk, DaBaby, and more. This is a follow-up to her EP Sugar, which she dropped earlier this year in March. A lot of great samples on this project as well, including the very first song on the album, which samples Biggie's Who Shot Ya. What do you guys overall think of the album and how she started the project, of course?
So look, right? I know we not gonna probably spend too much time on the album because it's a lot of controversial things just starting out with this song, right? Just how the album starts. But overall, I think that she did put out a good body of work. But I've been waiting to talk to academics about this because the song, along with the chain of events that happened after the song, has set the internet on all different ways and shit. So what was you feeling when you turned this shit on? I want to have that conversation with you again.
I thought it was a bold move to use the Who Got You sample. I
Shot you?
oh yeah, Who Shot You? But like it's a very tricky and touchy situation because Meg is the victim. So Meg's allowed to she's allowed to kind of use that situation and flip it almost, you know what I mean? Like taking Who Shot You and basically saying that nigga did it, whatever. Cool. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I think just kind of listen to the whole thing. Not only the song, the album, man. Like maybe I'm a little salty and I have a bitter taste in my mouth from Meg getting all these awards. But I came away from that album thinking, yo, this is a pretty mid project. Like this was the definition of middle of the road. And even when addressing something that's obviously personal turmoil and definitely, very traumatic, if we're really judging the music, I just thought it was mid. Okay. And not only that particular song, um, I think the whole album, of course, there's some moments and flares of songs that you can be like, okay, I could see this kind of rocking out, but it made me really have a reflection moment about just Meg's career and even the awards she won. And I'm like, yo, she won this shit because she's that really good at rapping, or she real in this shit because she's having a really good 2020. That's a sympathy year. Or maybe it's just like, yo, hey, listen, she's in the right place at the right time. I just and again, I look at someone like her compared to even and I know different levels, and obviously this is the greatest female rapper of all time, Nicki Minaj, and I'm like, if Nicki put out this body of work, we call it trash, and we just got to be honest. And every time I speak to someone about Meg's talent, they love to say she could rap, but I feel like that's almost like a consolation prize. It's like a sticker on the refrigerator for participating. Doesn't really say much because she can rap, but better than who? And I was really listening to the whole project, and I'm like, it's not horrible, but I don't know if it's meeting now my heightened standards of what I'm putting on Meg, just as an artist. And I'm gonna get into the song afterwards. Um, yeah, that was my overall feeling. Overall, I'm like,
Well,
man, like
And
I
did you
think
feel the same way about the project, generally speaking, Wayno?
so no, I mean, I actually thought that it was pretty decent. Aside from, I just feel like, in your more recent years, as you grow older as an artist and you have more years in the game, it's hard to compare you to the last shit you put out because just growth and all types of different things, all types of different factors. But I'm comparing this to Fever, the
Which a lot of
project
people
that,
thought was her official debut, and they
yeah,
were confused that this was labeled as that.
right. I mean, I think that the thing now is that you got to take as many shots until you get. It's like you got to keep rolling the dice until you like you got to keep rolling until you hit, right. And I felt like Fever was a really good album, mixtape, whatever you want to call it. And I feel like for the most part, the thing that Megan, she's doing great numbers on this, but I think that the shit she missed the most was the moment. I feel like the Who Shot You record came out too late. Um, I feel like the album came a bit too late. With all the other things she was talking about, I mean, we could have just got the music in and she could have talked after, but I think that the music hits different only because every moment that we kind of forget about the whole situation that she's had this year, I wouldn't say forget, but it kind of gets drowned out by other things, then the music comes in and doesn't match the same intensity it has for the other conversation.
So you guys would
I
have appreciated if she dropped that first song as a single. So she did an interview with Hot 97, and she said that she actually had this song ready to go the next day, at least around the time like Tori put it on the album and all of that stuff, but she decided to save it for the album. But would you guys have reacted positively to the song then? Doesn't seem like it.
Act real quick. Act real quick. I feel like this, right? It's just like the Who Shot You sample, all of that. It's like you see that coming from a mile away. If I was high, I would have sampled 50 cents back down or some shit. If you want this a nigga, like really go at him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like really go at him. I feel like of course she was eventually gonna address the situation. But I felt like if you was gonna put it on wax, then you gotta be like just get super disrespectful with it. You ain't got nothing to lose and everything to gain in the situation. So yeah, I think that the record would have hit different if it would have dropped right after he dropped his album or something like that, or a little bit sooner. But overall, like I feel like she kind of missed the moment, energy wise.
um again, I definitely have a lot of sympathy for Meg and what she went through. Traumatic, no one should have to go through that. At least the version of the story I'm believing. I just know she got hurt, and no one should have to, get hurt as a result. No woman should have to get hurt as a result of a man, or definitely no one should have to get hurt as a result of a gun. But I do have to say, like, if just even hearing this new information that at least new to me, when Deska said that she said she had the song ready right after the shit happened. Some of the details in the story or this song we've never heard before. We ain't never heard some of this stuff before. Also, it seems like when recently you hear like some outlets, especially black outlets, saying, "Yo, yeah, we wanted to, ask a few questions just about like, maybe not a particular situation, but even about the person." She didn't want to talk about that. She was avoiding all interviews because she didn't want to talk about that. But strategically, she drops an album, first song off the thing, which is pretty much, call it almost goddamn the title track, because it's the thing that's kind of moving conversation about the album. She's talking about exactly that. It does feel a little bit that she is packaging this whole situation and talking about it into a rollout. The only time we get the information about this is in GQ and on the album.
All right.
I'm just saying, looks a little spooky. But again, I'm not. Listen, it's not. It's not.
How you felt about her friend? How you felt about her friend this record?
Well, she can't rap either. No, but I guess the situation just gets more confusing. Why is the friend going against Meg? If y'all are best friends, like I just can't. And I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like the stories are all over the place, and that's why we keep getting a fractured, like, piece of story every time we hear from someone else. I would imagine, yo, Wayno, if me and you best friends, we go somewhere, or I don't know, you got a crazy girlfriend, something like that. Your crazy girlfriend shot something or whatever, did something to hurt you.
Right.
The day after, you my guy, I'm gonna be rocking with you. If that's not the case, it tells me there's more to, like, it's not just simple black and white. There's more to be discussed. Obviously, like, you hear her kind of addressing her friend on the song, and her friend also responding back to say this whole situation was caused because of some of your actions. To hear another woman point that finger in this situation, given the fact that they were best friends, it's tough to
Yeah,
hear.
it's a little
But
wild.
that's why we got to hear more information.
It's a little wild.
Okay. Well, I don't know if we're gonna get more information, but I guess that was that it for the album review then.
Other than that song, like, again, other than that song, I did enjoy a few other songs that were on it. The Body record I thought was cool, and the Go Crazy record I thought was cool as well. But again, I have a heightened level of expectation from her, and maybe that's a little bit because of all the accolades she's getting, but also, like, what I mean, y'all remember, you remember when I did it with Corday, when I was like, yo, all right,
Right.
everybody's hyping this up. All right, cool. Somebody expect this level of shit. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, I felt the splash or the surprise of this album is that she addressed Tori, just like how Tori addressed her, but not in the fact that it was just like a phenomenal album outside of, everyone's talking about this one song. Like, people don't even
Yeah.
know that there's a couple other dope records on this.
Yeah,
But that
the
one,
jungle. My fault. Go ahead. Finish.
but that one song is kind of dominating the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, the joint with her and the baby. I think, like, speaking music wise, like her and the baby, I feel like they bring the best out of each other. Like, that would be a dope EP to have. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
for them two, like, they definitely bring the best out of each other. Joint with her and the City Girls, is that type of record. I don't know. I think, like, just my personal opinion on the album, like, shortened a bit. You know what I mean? Might sound a little differently. Oh, like, overall, like, I feel like she did a good job, but I'm comparing it to her last, like, full length project, which is Fever, and I feel like Fever, she had shit on fire. Right now, she had it on fire musically. Like, it was a few joints over there that people was fucking with. It's shit down in the South, going to see her perform live. With this one, it's just like I said, it just seems like, the controversy is kind of overshadowing the music, or the lack thereof music that people might feel is on this.
Yeah, that Crybaby track, I fuck with that too.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a couple good records from there. Well, I saw you posting about this when it dropped. I didn't think you were gonna have a very enthusiastic review, but as always, we appreciate your honesty. We're gonna talk about this Wayne mixtape, but first, would you mind taking us through some numbers?
Oh, absolutely. I can pull it up. Okay, now I got it.
Absolutely.
I got it. Wait, where the heck is the numbers? No, wait. Oh, no. Okay, great. Oh,
I was gonna say, should I start for you?
Well, no.
Right.
Well, I have to talk about Meg Thee Stallion's numbers, because this was the topic of conversation a little bit on social media, and what range of numbers is appropriate for someone of her stature. But her album Good News did debut at number 2, selling 102,000 copies, which definitely it's an increase from what she did last time. So she is on the increase. But again, I do think people are a little salty about the accolades. Like, nah, you got to be selling like the baby and Lil Baby. But that's definitely an increase for her. It's the first time she's touched 6
Who was
digits.
number one at?
It might have been like BTS or something like that. Like
Shit.
one of them. Yeah, one of them. One of them, bro. Exactly.
Right.
Pop Smoke, man, Pop Smoke is holding that top 5 spot. Like, it's crazy how his album has just lasted. It just hasn't moved. He sold 51,000 this week with his project. Future and Uzi, I believe it's your second week on the charts, but they did 50,000 this week. And Juice WRLD, his posthumous album did 36,000. It was at number 8. And listen, last week, the charts actually saw that number 1 was The Mood. What was that Indie song with what was it?
Indie on
24K.
24K.
Yeah. And Drake, Laugh Now, Cry Later. That was at number 5. I'm still mad that song never got number 1. And Internet Money Lemonade, which I love Internet Money and I love Lemonade, but damn, that song is lasting like a motherfucker, ain't it?
Yeah, yeah.
And Pop Smoke for the Night with Lil Baby and The Baby landed at number 10. So, it was pretty much like in terms of big singles, like everything remained the same.
Did we actually talk about that Future and Uzi album? Am I just forgetting?
Yo, listen, what we said what was gonna happen with that shit.
Yeah, it was gonna come and go, but
Yeah.
no, honestly though, I will say in terms of that album, like the songs that I pointed out, that Drinking and Smoking Records fire, Lullaby fire. They did drop the deluxe, and I think the deluxe, they did it midweek. It gave people a better
Wow.
outlook on it. So not bad.
Okay. All right. So let's see how you guys feel about the new Lil Wayne project. So you dropped No Ceilings 3. And I remember the original tape dropped back in 2009, the second one in 2015. So on this one, he's rapping over songs like Pop Smoke's Dior, Shake the Room, For the Night, Laugh Now, Cry Later, Sicko Mode. Definitely picked some good beats. How'd you guys feel about this?
I don't know how to feel about this one. I ain't gonna lie. I don't really know how to feel about this one. I mean, listen, I love Wayne. I think Wayne is, of course, that's undisputable that Wayne is one of the greatest ever. It's just that
living up to the first one
type
is
of
tough.
shit. Yeah, like I just feel like he doesn't come up with any new names for shit. So he just adds on to like, all right, this is gonna be the next this or the next that. And I feel like in order to do that, you got to meet the time with shit. Like you got to meet the time with it. And I just don't think that the freestyles hit like they used to. Now if it's done live, it hits. But it's like as far as listening to a bunch of freestyles, it doesn't hit the way it used to hit.
I don't expect, I think that just No Ceilings, that title series is about nostalgia in itself. So I don't ever think they're gonna hit the same. You got to realize, like, you listen to the original No Ceilings tape, and like some of those freestyles are actually, I don't even know the original song for some of those like instrumentals he's rapping over. I kid you not. That's how good like he bodied that joint. So I don't expect him to do that, but I think it's still like, it's like sparring, man. It's like, if Floyd gets in the ring and spars. So, I'm always impressed by the effort. I was cool with most of the project until I got to later on, and it turned from Dwayne Carter to Dwayne Carter Jr. And basically his son took over the project. And I'm like, all right, man. All right. Okay, now. All right, now. I mean, just throw some nepotism on it, but it's all good. I'm still in that space with Wayne where I'm happy that he's happy with putting out music. Right. You get me? So I have no complaints. I'm not gonna say like it's the best thing ever, but like it's definitely dope.
And I'm always happy to see Gutter Gutter.
Yeah,
one of the most slept on, one of the most slept on Young Money members ever. I always love to see Gutter Gutter on something.
All right, well, are you guys excited that Playboi Carti has allegedly finally turned in his album? This is Whole Lotta Red, right? We've been talking about this for months now, that it may or may not be coming. Are you guys still excited about this? Is it possibly going to drop this year?
He turned it in for a potential. Yeah, I was about to say he turned it in for a potential July 2021 release. You know what I mean? I'm excited for Carti, but it's like, dog, like, where are you at? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because the Carti hype comes a lot from like, his contribution to the SoundCloud era, but also comes a lot from his fan base. Also comes a lot from like, as they were, doing songs together, his career and success got paralleled with Lil Uzi Vert's success. Uzi didn't drop music for a long time, came back, he basically hit a bank shot, you know what I mean? It still went in because the deluxe came out and fans were generally happy. And I think people are looking at Carti like, he's one of the most unresponsive artists when it comes to like, letting fans know what's going on. We know he had a child recently with Iggy Azalea. We don't know if he was just busy being a father or he just was saying, fuck the music. You know what I mean? He was just out of the way, but he seems to be coming back. Here's the thing though with Carti. I think people are looking at him to say, bro, some of the shit you've been dropping or the few shit that you've dropped just ain't hit the way how we wanted to hit. Like, for example, that Met track that he dropped a couple months ago. You know what I mean? Some of his fans were a little bit like, nah, that's not it. We're tired of the baby voice or whatever. I'm looking to see how he's going to either evolve or, make that splash again. Maybe it's just you're automatically going to make a splash by dropping music after you haven't dropped for 2 years because you have that fan base. But I do think it's still tricky in this time to not drop music for so long, come back and think you're about to heat it up. So if he drops quote unquote a dud or whatever, do people just jump off that bandwagon or
But
whatever?
my question is this: is like, how do we consider it a dud or not when it still does the same numbers? I mean, like, consumption wise, I hear a lot of I see a lot of his fans saying, "Oh, it ain't this, ain't that," but the numbers is showing that it is. So it's like, how does that work? That's what I always want to know, because I feel like the numbers is such a big conversation of the music now. His fans is still streaming this shit like it's one of his best records, whether we feel like it is or not.
Yeah, so I think when it comes to like the reason why somebody waits for an artist for 2 years is literally you think their last works were so good or impressionable that you actually want to give them another chance to impress you again. You know what I mean? If you drop some mid, we not like you give somebody some Reggie. Come on, man. This shit ain't even gonna last a week. But if you give some, like, I think people were impressed in how, he's put out music before and also they followed his career for a long time. But if it don't do good, I think it's gonna kill the hype. If it's not good, if it's gonna kill the hype, it's gonna slowly kill the hype. And again, it might do good consumption wise because you ain't dropped for a while, but you'll realize that fan base ain't gonna be waiting for the next one like that. Okay, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, I'm a damn idiot. All right.
No, man, they've been standing strong for 2 years. I don't fucking know. Like, they've been standing real strong for 2 years.
Nah, it's not. Some of them started to defect. I seen some of them was like, yo, man, all
Yeah,
these.
but as soon as a modeling picture pops up, everybody gets excited again. Like it's like it don't take much for him to get his fan base excited. So I blame like some of his lackadaisical ways on how much his fan base like praises him. You know what I'm saying, like he's like, I'll get there when I get there.
It's the vampire pick for me.
Yeah, them shits is crazy. I don't know what he was. Yo, bro, I don't know what was going on in them shits. Straight
All
up.
right, so one more album speculation question for you guys, I promise. So Future recently posted a photo with Metro and Southside, caption Monster 2 question mark. Original project dropped in 2014. So this is just coming off his project with Uzi. Do we want another Future project? Do we want this Future project?
Absolutely. Monster, my favorite, might be one of my favorite projects after Dirty Sprite 2 and Streets Calling, from Future. So I would definitely let it see hear a Monster 2.
I agree. Monster 2, Monster is really out of that trilogy joint, pretty much is my favorite as well. I will say this though, what I'm more impressed by is, and I don't know if he's been in the fold and just in a tuck. Once I seen Esco, I'm like, all right, we back to business. We back to business. Cause there's a few people that said Future's music changed when, I don't know if there's a rift, but there was a little distance there between him and Esco. And just seeing Esco in there, I'm like, all right, come on, man. That's the coolest DJ in the world. Come on, you know what's gonna happen. So let's do it.
All right. So look, our final story, an interesting one, because we always have this conversation when it's too late that no one ever reaches out to help, when they can help. So recently, NLE Choppa got on Twitter and asked 300 Entertainment to step in and help Famous Dex, because there was a video, I saw one of them floating around where he looked a little bit out of sorts. So Choppa is saying, I've never been the type to be in folks' business, but you see Famous Dex is obviously on drugs. Can y'all try surrounding that man with somebody in his best interest? So at first, Dex responded telling him to mind his business and watch TV. Then he did follow up and basically say, thank you for like showing that you care, that he didn't say anything wrong. So do you guys think this is a good effort here? Have you seen that video I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I feel like one Famous Dex video is like all Famous Dex videos. Like he always looks like he's kind of like out of whack when it comes to getting high and shit. I mean, I'm happy that NLE Chopper did that and it didn't lead to anything else. But I feel a lot of times a lot of artists don't really want help. I feel like a lot of them don't really want help, or they're embarrassed by saying that they do actually need help with something like that. Everybody likes to fake in front like they got shit under control. And like honestly, this is no slight to Dex, but I never really seen him looking competent. I never seen him looking like he was on top of whatever he got going on. So I mean, I'm happy that NLE Chopper did say something, but I mean, who knows if it will, or anybody cares to make it happen, or even Dex cares to make it happen, because this is not nothing new when it comes to him.
It was a I like the angle. By the way, I love what NLE Chopper's become. I hope it's a real 360 view of him himself, and it's not just like, yo, here's a persona for Twitter and for social media. But he's become someone who is looking out for artists. Kind of like, I know, a lot of people remember some of the, maybe not so glamorous or negative things about like XXXTentacion, but like towards the end of his life, he was trying to reach out to his peers and he was trying to communicate a lot of positive message to artists he saw maybe going down a wrong path, maybe even paths that he's going on before that he realized was a fucked up and wrong path. So I like where NLE Chopper is going with that. He also, he tried to, give some good words to King Von. He tried to give some words to like other people who he feels like, yo, listen, let's look at things another way. And I think that's dope. When it comes from a journalist, a elder, a OG, is different than when it comes from your peer, because your peers are usually what makes shit trendy and cool. And a lot of times they'll encourage the fuck shit just because they don't want to seem lame, right? And hearing NLE Chopper say that reminded me of a very famous Breakfast Club interview that the guy who founded 300, which by the way, Famous Dex is signed to, had Leroy Cohen had that interview with the Breakfast Club, and he basically said he's not for his artists taking drugs. He doesn't support drug use. But when asked if he was signing artists that was using their music to promote drug use, the answer was more of, listen, I can't fuck with the art. I think that's also a 360 view with that, because this music has gotten a lot of these artists to become, this music and lifestyle has gotten a lot of these dudes to become fiends. I've been personally talking about Famous Dex for at least 3 years now about things that seem visibly wrong with his appearance, with his demeanor. He's passed out on live streams. He swore off drugs multiple times. After the death of Fredo Santana, God rest his soul, he had a very tearful, like, basically middle, and also said, yo, I'm done with this. I'm not gonna do that type of stuff anymore. But you could tell when somebody is on some shit, and whether it's someone around him or even calling out the label, I don't know if the label cares that much to really step in on that. You get me? I think maybe they're at the point where like he's not making the hottest music at the right now. But if he was making the hottest music and the drugs were fueling that, I don't see them really stepping in. So at this point, I look at it and I'm like, man, this is where I got to evoke the family, man. Like, you tell me you don't got no family, somebody got to step in, because again, man, trust me, me and Dex has had conversation. Dex has felt a certain type of way, because I ain't gonna lie, I've publicly tried to shame some of the just how he looks sometimes, how he's been
So
acting.
the conversations you had were specifically about this.
Of course.
Were they like respectful conversations? Like you talked it out, or was it just
no, bro? It's like, yo, we care about you, my brother. That's what NLE Chopper said. We care about you. Like, we ain't trying to just watch this happen, because everybody's gonna say RIP and just a lot of tears, and and again, I've said before, I said, listen, I don't even want no more Famous Dex singles. I want him to go to rehab, because it's clear that if he was trying to get a handle of this problem himself, he's not doing that good of a job with it.
Yeah.
And but I'm sorry, hold on. He did address slightly as well about, because he responded to NLE Chop, and he said, listen, I've been doing a lot better. He said, there used to be like some stuff by my mouth, and I stopped and like I cleaned that up. But I'm like, you could tell by somebody's demeanor, like, you might need a little help. And I'm glad he didn't react violently, or like just like abrasively, like, yo, what the fuck you talking about, you lame? Like, he took it and he said he appreciated it. And I'm just hoping that goes towards a change, because at the end of the day, we do care about these artists. And again, for every Famous Dex that you could visibly see, is other artists who are hooked on some shit that kind of clean it up when they come in front of the camera. So hopefully, that message kind of goes out there. Maybe labels should reconsider putting things in place. Like, y'all got everything in place to help an artist create. How about you put things in place to help an artist stay alive?
Yeah, and there's some labels, like LVR, when we had Justice on, he was talking about, now they have like mental health counseling for artists and stuff like that. So at least younger labels seem to be moving in the right direction. Wait, no, you wanted to add something?
No, I was just saying, I was going to say that, that's why I appreciate G Herbo so much, because like an artist of his stature and how he's perceived, he was vulnerable enough to say that he went into rehab. You know what I mean? He wasn't afraid to let that be known. And I think that, a lot of artists are just, they're afraid to look like a junkie. you know, so they say, oh nah, like, but that's the problem. Like we celebrate a lot of this stuff. And when I say we, I say is like, you know, as a culture, a lot of people laugh at the same things that make them cry. You know what I mean? Like they'll be joking on somebody, and then when they die, they're like, oh shit, you know, he just was here. I was just with him last week. You know, I think that that's what makes a lot of artists reluctant to kind of tell their story and be honest about what they're actually going through as far as like dealing with drug problems, you know, because it's looked like you should be able to handle it. And that's not like for real. In other countries, I think in like Ireland, like drug usage is treated like a disease. You know what I mean? Like they give you treatment, they don't lock you up for it.
And also, by the way, you know, again, I don't want to ever sound like I'm speaking from a soapbox, like, yeah, get off the fucking drugs, like, stop this. Because, you know, I think, you know, Fredo Santana, you know, again, God rest his soul, you know, he said a very interesting thing when that conversation of people doing, you know, certain drugs, which I won't mention, came about. And he said, yo, I'm gonna be honest, I'm self-medicating because I'm seeing my brothers die every day. And for me not to lose it off of being coming from a place where the cycle of violence had taken my best friends, people I grew up with, like this is a lifestyle here. I gotta drown out some of the pain and some of the hurt that I'm feeling. And this might be the way that I chose to do it. Yeah, I'm not proud to be addicted, but unfortunately, this is what the reality is. I think we also got to take account for what some of these artists might be going through as well. You know, also where they come from. Like Famous Dex also is from Chicago, and again, you know, shit, someone who he was even closely, you know, at least at one point associated with, you know, FBG Doug. He had passed away too. So you know, and much other people who are not popular. So, um, um, I try to have that type of, you know, understanding that some of these they might not just be just drugging themselves just to be cool or whatever. They might have real problems, but that's where you need real help.
Absolutely. It's not something you should be ashamed of because it's not like a mental thing, like you guys are saying. You can't just turn it on and off. It's a physical addiction at that point. So hopefully Dex can get some help. And like Ike said, this comes from a good place, not trying to judge everyone, just, you know, want to look out for artists because we do care about them and we do care about the music. Thank you guys for your thoughts. As usual, fans, thank you for watching Everyday Struggle. Hit us up. We got a couple more weeks with you. Send us some fan questions, some notes. Just say what up on Twitter at Everyday Struggle with 2 Gs. We'll see you here tomorrow on Complex.